Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm going to say it here. I'm going to say the F word. Prepare yourself. And this word, sometimes it can make you uncomfortable. And the word is forgiveness. We need to forgive. And if we don't, it can impact our lives in many ways that we may not even realize, including impacting our health. We're going to talk about that today. How do you forgive? How do you let go? How do you even forgive yourself? We're going to talk with somebody who helps people with this and so much more all the time as a life coach, counselor in self-improvement, works with couples, moves your life forward. And one of the ways is through forgiveness. She is our professional of the year. Dawn Manderfeld is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Steve, how are you? Good to see you.
You too. You too. And the forgiveness thing, I've heard before how important it is. Try to practice it. Doesn't mean you condone what somebody may have done, but I've never talked about the aspect how it can impact your life in ways you don't even know. Severely impact your life. And you might not even know it because you're holding these feelings inside. And you might not even know that you have these feelings inside. Now that I think about it, we could be harboring things from something that happened decades ago and haven't even figured that out yet. But now we're stuck. Now we're ill. Now we may have disease. It's a real thing that this can impact us, right?
It is. Yeah, because our emotions affect how our brain works. And it can actually affect how our body is actually supposed to function. And another thing I like to put with forgiveness is stress. When you are angry and you're bitter about something and you're upset about something and you don't really deal with it head on, you don't face it head on, and it can make you literally sick. It can give you migraines. It can cause diseases. It can cause, you can get debilitated by it. Our brain is so unique, and how we do life and how we think, how our emotions and our feelings fit into everything really affects how our body works. And if we are not feeding our body goodness and we're not feeding our body healthy, positive stuff on a regular basis, it's going to slowly start falling apart.
I never looked at it that way. I never looked at it that way. We feed ourselves, to survive, food, right? But we can also feed ourselves positive thoughts. Wow.
Yeah, because if we're upset about something, and angry about something, and we choose not to talk about it because what if we're the ones that were wrong in how we felt? Maybe it's something we took wrong. Well, what it's going to do if you keep doing that, your body's going to keep tightening up. You're not going to be a bubbly, happy, positive, encouraging person. And eventually that will bottle up in your body, and you will pay for it in some form of health issues. You will.
I've heard this, and I was like, how could it really affect you? Yeah, I guess it can. Sure, stress. Yeah, we know that can, even from the cliche, stress can kill. So I put, some stock in that. But it wasn't until I heard in the last year or so that things that we deal with get into the cellular level, into many, if not all, the cells. And cells are, even though they're microscopic, they have a lot going on. And everything we deal with gets that deep into our body. And it's science. This is science. I'm not making this up. It's not, I think that might be. No, that's the way it is. So when you think that, my gosh, like everything we deal with every second of the day is within us, for good or bad.
Yep. And we could be getting to we could be in a situation that we're getting to know a new friend, and they could say something that could trigger us
Mm.
in something that we have not been able to deal with from the past, or a past relationship, or something with our parents, or something at a job. And then you get angry at that person, or you start harboring, like you just start getting tense around them, and they could be the best thing that happened to you, but because that brings up a memory that you haven't been willing to deal with, you may have right there just lost somebody who could have been an amazing person in your life.
Mm.
That's just kind of one example. But I know a lot of people who do not like exercise. I love exercise. It is my stress reliever. It makes me happy. And for those that, you know, believe in Jesus or whatever, that's like my praise and worship time. Like, do not interrupt my time when I'm working out. But the endorphins that you get with that can literally help the stress and the anger and the bitterness in your body. Something as simple as going for a walk. And so there's so many directions that we could take this topic that literally all begin with our mindset, and are we willing to deal with that issue? Get over it. Forgive, or say I'm sorry. Let that person know. If that person's not there, then it's us just learning to say, I don't want that person to control that I'm having headaches. I don't want that person to control that I'm having upset stomachs. I don't want that person to control that I'm having acid issues when I eat, because I'm nervous now when I eat because of what this person said or what this person did. As you can see, I brought up, 7 different scenarios there with just being upset with one thing that happened in your past, that you need to talk to someone about it, and you need to slowly tell yourself, give yourself permission to let it go. That's what's so important. Do not let a situation in the past control you moving forward. Because that's what unforgiveness, that's what not being willing to say I'm sorry, or not being willing to talk to someone to make it right. That's exactly what you're doing. You're stopping yourself. You're letting that situation control you. And you know what? I believe we're all better than that.
We are.
We are worth having a good life and to be moving forward, but we can't if we're going to, one of the things that I tell people is, when we get into situations that cause chaos and anger and bitterness in our lives, our brains can't focus on the good stuff because it's overpowering it. So if you're trying to, do something positive in your life, but you're not willing to address that issue, your brain can't do both.
I also feel, and I agree with everything you're saying today, times 100. I think that we are wired to be negative from birth. You're 2 years old. You walk up to the kitchen table. I can walk now. This is great. Salt shaker, pepper shaker. Well, yeah, I got new toys. What's the first thing you hear? Put those down. Put those down. Yep. No, don't touch those again. No. Now you're set up for negative, but it's to protect you. Evolutionary. Mm-hmm. It's to protect you. So you had a bad situation that happened in your life. You could have done nothing, but it hurt. And now you have this block up, and you can't let it go.
Your wall just keeps getting higher and higher and higher to where you can't even look over it anymore.
And it's with, I guess, good reason. And part of it's in your subconscious because you're protecting yourself. So you keep festering it. Because I'm not going to do it again. And they did that. And then, and it's like you said, it's hard to look at the other side to be positive because one is so big, the negative, the positive's down here. But it's because I believe we're wired that way to protect us. So we keep marinating in the negative. And if you just let it go, you know what happened. You're not going to let it happen again. Yeah. But then again, there's also those, like you said, you meet somebody, they're great. whoever they are, and something got triggered, and now that you dismiss them and they're gone. You could be the most beautiful person on the planet in all ways, but you're still stuck on what's in you, and you might not even know. You might not even know what it is.
I was going to say, you may think you dealt with it, and then all of a sudden someone triggers it, and you're like, I thought I already dealt with that. I thought I was already done with that. And then that's where you just need to search deeper and just keep working on it. It's when you quit working on it and you just say, well, it's always going to be that way, so be it. I'm just going to keep protecting myself. I'm just going to keep, this is what I need to do for me. That's when it can get dangerous, and it can be a very lonely, non-moving forward life, And sometimes those trigger points are good because it does help show you how far have I come in that process of letting it go? How far am I in the process of forgiving that situation and moving forward beyond it? So trigger points aren't always a negative thing. They really can show us how far we've come in our process of getting ourselves healthier. And that's like a really, really big thing. It can also help us to keep going forward.
I believe the universe throws you signs. I'm gonna digress for 1 second here on this, but you said healthier, right? So I've been thinking, I need to get healthier. I go to the gym, but quite honestly, I don't push myself. I go, call it maintenance, but I'm not making progress. I want to lose some weight, get more tone, but I know I'm not. I know I need to dig in. I know I need to eat better. So Friday night, I had a work event, and then I went to a sports bar next door, and I'm sitting there and having a beer. I'm with somebody, and pizza comes out. It's just horrible food. It's just the worst. It wasn't even good for what it was.
Okay.
And in comes walking somebody, this guy that I worked with years ago. Haven't seen him in a long time. And we start talking, and he's, life-wise, a little bit similar situation as me. And man, it's great to see you and everything, blah, blah, blah. And he looks great. Guy could be a model. He looks great. And then I text him. I said, hey, listen, me and some other friends are going out tomorrow. If you want to hang out, it's been a while, catch up. I think we all get together well. And he texts back. He's like, yeah, I love that, but I was already out, and I get up every day at 4:30 to go to the gym. And I looked at that as the universe is sending a sign to me. I'm saying, you might not believe it. I think that was a subtle sign. He walked in for that one reason, just as you need to get serious. You need to get serious. And the fact that he said, yeah, I'm not going to go out. I get up at 4:30. In my mind, I'm like, guilt. But I think we need to look for the signs too. Things are out there. We are being sent things universally, and we don't see them. And he showed up right when I've been thinking, I shouldn't be eating this and all of that. Back to forgiveness. How do you let go? You try. Maybe you get 75% there of letting somebody go in a situation. How do you get it done?
I have seen and experienced, not just for myself, but for family members and children and people that I've counseled. For some people, forgiveness just comes easy because they have already done it in the past, and they realize how much weight comes off of you when you do it, and you just make a decision to do it. For others, that can be very analytical and just different. They're going to keep breaking down the scenario of what happened in that situation, and keep breaking down those scenarios, keep breaking down that situation over and over and over again until you realize, okay, this part I'm just going to let go of. Take a sheet of paper, write down your situation, write what started it, write how it escalated, and write how it ended. Read it and read it and read it and read it. And then look at it and just say, what do I have a choice here to either keep going back to the scenario, what do I want to start working on here? And believe it or not, when you see it on paper,
Yep.
and you're not just thinking it in your head, and you're not just replaying it in your head, but you're literally seeing it on paper, or send yourself a voice message in your phone. This is what happened, blah, 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 blah. Listen to it over and over and over again. And while you're doing it, for me, it was just kind of like, okay, Heavenly Father, will you show me what I may have misunderstood here, or what I'm not understanding? Or a friend, can you read this? Can you read this, what I wrote down? Can you listen to what I said? And can you give me your ideas on this and what you're hearing and what you're reading? Literally talk it out with somebody, because their perspective may be exactly what you need to say, oh. Because then you can say, well, what part did I have in that?
I'm just going to say
what part did I, what part of me made that situation escalate? And when you put it that way, that's how you can start breaking it down. And that's how you can slowly, really, or even instantly go, that was really foolish. That was ridiculous. Like, why have I been holding on to this?
The voice memo, great idea. That is, it's going to come clear for you. And you said we need to realize our role in a situation. And maybe in some situations, you're holding on. You can't forgive somebody, but you don't realize deep down inside, you know you got to forgive yourself too. They may have done this horrible thing here, but if you're connected to them, you did something too. It doesn't mean that what you did should have caused this, but you may be feeling some guilt and you're not addressing it. And that also is holding you back, because you hear so many people that may have been a victim of a random crime. They don't have an emotional attachment to that person. And a lot of times they say, you know what? I forgive them. I'm letting it go. And that's it. I guess it's easier because you're not emotionally connected to a friend, family member, ex, whatever it might be. But we have to realize our role, whatever that role is. And again, doesn't make what they did right.
No, it doesn't. And we could have triggered something in them and not even know it.
Right.
I mean, we could trigger something in them that they've been working on and not even realize it.
Or they never worked on, or it came from their childhood. They're not even aware.
Yep.
Again, we're not cutting any slack here. It's more about understanding why they did what they did, and what you, to your point, what you may have done to trigger them. And you roll in it. You roll in it. I really think a lot of us haven't figured out what we've done in releasing that guilt. And then that leads into a whole other area, forgiving yourself for something.
Yep. And communication, there again. Communication. Simple communication. When everything calms down, talk about it.
Yeah.
It may easily be fixed at that point. But some people get so angry and so bitter so quickly, they don't want to talk about it, and they just brush it off and say, well, there we go.
And so many people want to play the victim. And I understand there's a place for that, at least in the beginning. Let it go. Let purge it out. But you may look at your life and say, look at my life, what's going on? They did this, and they did this, and now I'm sick, and now I have a disease, and it's all. But that whole situation may have come from you not forgiving somebody.
Exactly. Exactly.
This has never been talked about. I've never heard anybody talk about this, how it can translate. Yes, stress can make you sick. We got that. We understand it, accept it or not. It's a fact. Living proof right over here. But The other, where not forgiving somebody can make you ill. We don't look at that. You never hear anybody talk about that. You might hear, yes, forgiving somebody is you're forgiving for yourself. They don't have to even know that you forgave them, but you're letting all this emotion, all this stuff go that could be making you sick.
Yeah, another phrase I like to say is when someone is at battle with themselves, they're unable to be peaceful with you. So if you're trying to pursue a friendship or you're trying to pursue, or help somebody, it's really important that we realize we don't want to take on their baggage. We don't want to take on their negativity. And sometimes there's really nothing we can do to help them when they're in battle with themselves, and to be very careful not to lose our peace. If we're trying to choose to help somebody, not everybody wants to be helped.
I really do believe, though, if you take some time to search your soul and look deeper into the situation, you will get the answers as to why somebody did what they did.
Yep.
You will get the answers. Somebody said early in my journey, it will all be revealed. And I was like, well, when I was in the middle of, a storm. And he was right. Everything gets revealed. Like, your parents used to say, it'll come out in a wash, figuratively speaking. But it does get revealed. And again, that doesn't cut them slack. It doesn't condone what somebody may have done that you can't forgive them for. But at least you can understand it a little bit more, and maybe understand that, wait a minute, it wasn't me. It wasn't me, or whoever. It was an issue they have that they've never dealt with and need to. Maybe they never will. Maybe they don't even think they have an issue. But if you connect the dots, you might figure it out. At least it'll make you feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Yep.
How do we connect with you? And you're great at just connecting the dots. Like, again, I've done podcasts on forgiveness, never on this aspect, how it could be making you sick and controlling and destroying your life. Just one aspect of you and what you offer. How do we find you?
You can reach me at livingbb.org. You can email me at donrenee@livingbb.org, and my phone number is 952-200-1103. And I would love to work with you.
Yeah, you're there to help, and you understand. And like all of us, you've been through stuff, and you get it. Especially the forgiveness thing. Thank you so much for today. Truly, truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve, and you have a blessed week now.
You too. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.